All right, let's get started. The U.S. economy is shrinking for the second consecutive quarter, folks. Ray Donnell, thank you for the 5. Pendragon925, thank you for the 5 gifted. Fat Chicken Bomber, another 10. I'm still not going to watch your video, brother.
The latest sign we may be headed for a recession, with some economists saying we're already there. Chief economics correspondent Rebecca Jarvis joins us now with what to explain with what all this means. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning to you, Cecilia. And the latest data from the Commerce Department shows the U.S. economy shrank between April and June, meaning consumer spending slowed, business investment fell, and stores reduced their restocking. Now, these are traditionally signs we could be facing a recession, but try and get this administration to even say the word recession, and you'd be hard-pressed.
Yeah, I wonder why the administration doesn't want to say the word recession, especially when, you know, things like this, and in the entire premise, as a matter of fact, that economists have cultivated, or the entire premise that like the economy revolves around, is like trying to analyze human behavior and trying to, you know, trying to quantify or figure out a quantifiable approach to human behavior. And one of those things is that human beings respond, right? The things that you say, and saying the word would probably make people panic. Keep having to remind myself you're not wearing gun holsters. It's just your shirt design. No, I'm not wearing gun holsters. What annoys me is that people are struggling and all they got is it's not a recession. No one cares, bro. I mean, people are struggling when it's not a recession. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not. People struggling under a capitalist organization of the economy is just a constant factor. It's a consistent reality. You know what I mean? Like, you think people weren't suffering when the market was heating like a motherfucker? You know what I mean? When the line kept going up, when we were in an asset bubble? No, people were still fucking suffering nonstop.
This morning, as debate grows over whether the U.S. is already in a recession or will be, the chairman of the Federal Reserve says we aren't there yet.
I do not think the U.S. is currently in a recession. And the reason is there are just too many areas of the economy that are performing.
There's a couple different ways of getting out of this situation, okay? My opinion on it, as just as uneducated as like every other person, okay? This is an uneducated guess, is that dealing with the supply chain and ensuring that there is more supply to meet the demand, whether it be, consumer goods that are a part of the inflation metric, or even goods that are a necessity for survival, or goods or services that improve your position as a labor force, make you a more productive wage laborer, like college educations, or like I said, goods or services that are necessary for your survival, like healthcare, or housing. Unless you, game the system a little bit further and make sure that those subsidies that you afford, or the subsidies that you offer to corporations, capitalist corporations, in an effort to boost productivity or boost the supply, actually is enforced somehow through a regulatory mechanism, these motherfuckers are not going to do shit. There's only two ways out of this. Either you kill a bunch of people because like people are fucking dying because they just don't have a job, they don't have any money, they're suffering, they're killing themselves, and then enough of them die, and then there's like less demand overall. Enough of them die, and then there's less demand overall, and then the prices have to be fucking pulled down. And also you have a more desperate workforce, so that now they're going to be easily more servile, and they're going to turn around and say, yes, please, sir, I will do this fucking minimum wage job. I will let all the small business owners shit all over me at the Applebee's job. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Or you got to try and make things a little bit cheaper. No more tax breaks, no more subsidies if these corporations, if these companies are not going to follow what is best for the people rather than their own corporate profits. This kind of profit-seeking behavior is the reason why we're in this situation.
Too well.
President Biden striking an optimistic tone.
If you look at our job market, consumer spending, business investment, we see signs of economic progress in the second quarter as well.
Regardless of what it's called, Americans are feeling the pain in their wallets. According to a growing number of economists, including Bank of America and Goldman Sachs, the signs of a recession are forming, with inflation up 9.1%, prices rising on food, shelter, and transportation.
Damn, that's crazy, bro. If only there was a way to like deal with that. If only there was a way to deal with like shelter, and if only there was a way to deal with transportation, and if only there was a way to deal with food. All three of these are fucking heavily subsidized industries. Heavily subsidized industries, either subsidized directly, okay, like agricultural production and for food, okay, straight up, or transportation also for oil and gas subsidies, but then also on top of that, it's supposed to be something that the government is literally taking care of. But all the government does is take your money and subsidize their fucking corporate profits. It's bananas. Economics is a fake profession only meant to justify the disgusting wealth of the 1%. They even pressured the Nobel Committee to make an award so they could jerk themselves off even harder. Yeah, I don't want to. I mean, it is bullshit. If it was like a fucking exact science, okay, they wouldn't get everything wrong all the fucking time so goddamn consistently, okay? That's just all I'm going to say. You cannot analyze human conditions. You cannot analyze or try to predict how human beings are going to react. You can only try as best as you can to get near how people will behave. But ultimately, it's not going to happen.
And while gas prices are starting to drop, it still costs over 35% more to fill up than this time last year. In
You still should learn it, though. I'm not saying, like, don't learn about micro and macroeconomic principles. I'm not saying that. I'm not like an anti-learn about that shit.
California, one of the most expensive places to get gas, drivers are paying an average of $5.66 a gallon, making it almost $100 to fill up a 16-gallon tank.
It's really hard to stick to a budget because now what I pay for gas a month is almost what I pay for rent a month.
Consumers also facing double-digit increases at grocery stores.
I used to do my monthly groceries for $200, but now it's costing me around $300, $350.
The National Bureau of Economic Research is the nonpartisan nonprofit that officially declares when recessions begin and end here in the United States. And they look at metrics like GDP, but they also consider things like unemployment and jobs, areas that have held up.
Econ industry, what they learn is dogma. Yeah, but the problem with that line of thinking is that at no point do you step away from that and go, wait a minute, we keep getting shit wrong. What the fuck's going on? One of the greatest examples of this is that tight labor markets where unemployment is very, very low, damn near full employment, right, is supposed to create conditions that make it easier for workers to be able to demand higher wages. But we never really had a tight labor market until COVID, when like 1 million fucking workers died, okay? So how do you look at unemployment being record low, hitting record lows year over year over year over year in the United States of America leading up to COVID, and wages are fucking stagnant? Like, how does that happen? That is a direct counter to like one of the basic fucking principles, okay? One of the basic principles. So let's finish the U.S. economy shrinking for the second consecutive quarter and then move on to some other news.
This record
and then we'll watch the Andrew Tate Nelk.
Inflation. Many economists are forecasting that we will see a recession later this year or early next. Cecilia.
Rebecca, this debate, are we in a recession or are we not, it's really raging on, but you've been saying it almost doesn't matter to folks at home who are feeling this in their wallets.
You can still feel pain, Cecilia, whether we're in a recession or not. And there are things you can do right now, like pay down that credit card debt, beef up your emergency savings fund. And if there is extra work to be taken on, do it and work on your resume right now. There are jobs out there. If you're looking for extra work, go out and get it now while they're still available. Cecilia?
Really great tips, as always, Rebecca. Thanks.
Great tips. Thank you.
Waiting for Hasan. What will he do when he's live? Is he gonna commentate on random videos? Go moan and cry. He can't keep getting away with it every time.